What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again with another upload. I did a live feed, I believe last night. Unfortunately, California weed and live feeds don't mix. So I had to redo this because I owe it to my subscribers to actually give you the information in a perfect manner. Shout out to Oakland. That's all I got to say. Other than that, let's recap. The Pronuntionus Unitas America, which means Latinized, stylized form, means the pronunciation of United America. Now, does this mean United States of America? No, it doesn't. It was a contract that was actually established for the embetterment of education within regards to the government towards the ideology of what sovereignty is in the states and what sovereignty is worldwide. It's a pronunciation. Most people in the public fool system are unawares to what the declaration concept is whenever you start a corporation. If you wish to start let's just say hypothetically speaking, a nonprofit, then you will be considered to have had published a declaration of some sort, which means it's just nothing more than you declaring something. Does that mean it has actual legal effect? No, it doesn't. But the individuals who comprise this society, so to speak, did this with such a guise to actually influence the public to make them believe that these individuals particularly had the authority. Where they got it from, we already can go into the doctrine of that in a later time. But they had the authority to establish something. But this is what I say on my channel. On my channel, I give people the capability to actually understand truth, facts, and of the matter to be able to establish your own jurisdiction. Let's get into it. Now, I went over this before, and I'm going to do this piecemeal to basically allow people to get more clarification. Most of my viewers and subscribers have already obtained this information. If you're new to this channel, you're new to the content, please like and subscribe. But I'm going to go over this piecemeal. I don't want to really just elaborate too tough on it because I know that a lot of people are already familiar with it. But those who aren't, trust me, you can obtain your copy via email. Yes, indeed, via email. A lot of stuff I can't say and won't say online because people will try to hijack stuff. Let's get to it. The Pronuntionus Unitas America. We, the sovereign men and women from United America, with solemn respect to the office and obligations bestowed upon us by our divine creator, in accord with the Pronuntionis Deus, as awareness, loves, life, proclaim dominion over this earth, and by right of natural law, do hereby command this pronouncement be promulgated to all men, women, persons, and foreign agents who presently occupy our sovereign lands. Now you see why I'm saying agents alike. Number one, our absolute sovereign right. Let it be known by us that the right of de jure solum et natural, we are natural born permitted upon the soil of this land we reign, and that no fiction may be applied or permitted to usurp our sovereign right upon this land, whether by such corruptions as territorial sea, or persons, according to legal definition, or subjects, according to the 14th Amendment, or other lesser fictions crafted to cede any of our rights. Number two, let it be known by us that by the right of de jure sanguinis coronae, we are of sovereign blood by virtue of the office granted to us by our divine creator, who has bestowed to us the gift of life, including fixed and irrevocable title over our body, mind, and spirit, subject to sovereign law, and that no force may lawfully abrogate any of these rights with or without consent. And three, let it be also known by us that the rights of civitas primum, we are first men and women, and are holders of title and allodium to all land free and clear of any encumbrances by virtue of being naturally born upon this soil, our sovereign rights and continue uninterrupted occupation and use of this land prior to any foreign visitations and settlement predating any and all claim instruments and their alleged effect, whether by treaty, charter, letters patent, or by any other means, whether real or fictional. And number 2, sacred and royal charter for United America Free Society. By virtue of our office, our sovereign right with respect to due process of law, we hereby pronounce our intention to issue a holy and royal charter, granting certain permanent and exclusive rights to the men, women, and persons who presently occupy our sovereign lands, to lawfully form a free society, known as United America Free Society, on condition that they obey and fulfill their obligations under charter and ensure that fairness or equity, respect of due process of law, and remedy be established across these lands. Part 2. Let it be known by us that sovereigns appointed to the office of our divine creator, we are not subject to the jurisdiction of any incarnation of Baal worship signified by their continued adherence to the pagan headdress in the form of the kippah basket of Cybele, the cap of Attis, and the mitre hats of Dagon, which is what the Pope wears. Nor are we subject to the jurisdiction of Rome in the history of false claims promulgated by the leaders of the Roman cult, having unlawfully seized power upon Vatican Hill first in 1058. Therefore, we completely reject the false documents and claim authorities to the effect that all sovereign men and women on the land not yet practicing their unholy Baal doctrines are by definition to be classed as human beings and therefore animals and legal property of the Holy See. And furthermore, we wholly reject those unlawful documents granted under false premise to Christopher Colon, known by the alias of Christopher Columbus, appointed by position of the governor and captain general of the Indies and islands and firm land of the ocean sea by anti-Pope Innocent VIII, 1448 to 1492, to the effect that any and all land to which the mass murderer and his pirate fleet did set foot would ipso facto be claimed by the Holy See. 4. Second, we as fact without dispute that for centuries a predatory foreign power called the Crown of England has imposed itself as an occupation force on our people, raped and drained our lands of their vast wealth and vitality, conducted wars of aggression and genocide against our nations, murdered the innocent, and kept us in a state of colonial dependency and impoverishment. And 5, official documents of claim ownership promulgated by the Crown, whilst not explicitly claiming the false right of terra nullius, nevertheless intentionally gave such effect through complete and utter contempt for natural law against the sovereign rights of full native title to the lands extending back for thousands of years, which has never been legally extinguished nor ceded, as can be demonstrated. The Crown has habitually dishonored due process of law and lawful remedy that continues to abrogate native title under duress. And 6, third, we as a fact that the Crown Company first formed as the Union of Crowns by James I and secretly granted false claims above rights of the Roman cult concerning ownership of the lands known as North America above the 38th parallel, and subsequently granted by franchise to 2 companies under Royal Charter in 1605, and subsequently revised charter commonly known today as the Virginia Company, or simply the Company, has neither surrendered its false claims of right nor effective control of these lands until this day. And 7, whilst many continue to believe that the document known as the Declaration of Independence, just got there, represents an act of original law by which claims and controls of the company owned by the Crown Company were severed, by its very name and form, the Declaration of Independence contradicts such false assertions, as only sovereigns by law may form original law by divine grace or grant, not persons, and a declaration denotes an instrument made by persons, as also stated within the text of the declaration. And 8th, as much as many may believe they live under a democratic government formed by the people, for the people, according to the Constitution, the true legal status of this instrument is merely the bylaws and memorandums and articles of incorporation, being a franchise granted exclusive rights by the Virginia Company Charter, also known as the Company. Having never surrendered its exclusive and false claims to this land, and as such as the United States of America remains no more than a corporation until this day, still legally owned by the company. And ninth, fourth, the words and sentiments contained within the Declaration of Independence remain some of the most noble and highest ideals for any just and equitable governance, including these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, we know that that's not the truth, because individuals that were actually underneath the tutelage and actually underneath chattel slavery, not just slavery, were not considered men. We're going to get to that later. Whilst these words are rightly regarded as extraordinary, it's number 10, they carry absolutely no legal effect, for the founding fathers did not see it fit to enact such ideals in a form executed or original law, nor undertake such measures to devise superior instruments to sever all possible false claims that remain to this day over your land. And 11. Since that time, Americans have been living under a false impression that the state and the people exist under protection of original law of a sovereign nation and not a franchise of the Crown of England, with nothing changing before or so after the so-called War on Independence, other than a deliberate fraud perpetuated by men and women living in America that they live in a democracy rather than under the jurisdiction of a private company. And 12. Fifth, we contend that the Crown and its chartered companies and agents have demonstrated a consistent lack of respect for the land and the men and women who occupy it, including their own settlers, their own people, instead stealing the wealth and property for a precious few, while the majority have been denied a share of such prosperity. And 13, while agreements have been made bona fide with the Crown in return has duly demonstrated only bad faith, instead acting in such a manner as to evoke the right of just cogence, which is documented murder, through genocide, enslavement, kidnapping, and property destruction, such as Pax Sertibana, can possibly apply to those historic instruments remaining as valid agreements. And 14, this mercenary and pirating behavior of deception and contempt for due process has been the hallmark of the Crown's occupation of our lands, and its secret agreement with the Holy See, corrupting the operation of the courts and its officials while denying the operation of just remedy and relief, including evading criminal justice for the deliberate genocide of countless hundreds of thousands of native-born men and women, and the abuse of our children for the reasons no more important than private profit and personal mendacity. And 15. 6. We completely reject the assertion that the present form of government of the United States in any way represents a free and fair democratic society, but is in fact more than a charade and fraud, using the outward symbols of freedom, fairness, and justice, but with the effect of denying the fulfillment of a true and truly free, equitable society, whilst wholly protecting the interests of the Crown. And lastly, through the control of all lands, resources in the United States of America and the Crown, reducing all Americans to the status of landless subjects of a foreign power under legal authority of a single representative of the Crown, we remain nothing more than modern-day serfs in a neo-feudal society and paupers in your own land. Now, I expound upon this because I can't put this all in one video, but what I will explain to you people is one simple fact. I do not care what people believe in regards to political authority, so to speak. This whole ideology was designed to basically enslave you. Now, when we hear the word slave, the first thing people think is dark people. No, they're white slaves too. Trust me, this is a proven fact. What does slave really mean? It means one that is actually encumbered by another individual's influence. That's what a slave is. Now, people think that we live in a free society in the United States. You don't. You live in a society that's controlled by a particular political agenda. But the agenda remains the same. Everybody that doesn't practice the actual legal competency of agenda in age majority is a slave. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're Blasian. I don't care if you're Hispanic. I don't care if you call yourself Caucasoid. I don't care if you call yourself African American. It's all the same. And this is the reason why these people get away with what they get away with. See, if you realize that there's a deeper agenda behind what they do, you have to also take this into consideration too, that they know that they can play upon your prejudices. Notice, we weren't born into this world with prejudices, but prejudices are created in order to fulfill a particular agenda for a certain minority. Proven fact, this is a free society. It's free. So we don't have to walk around with labels, because labels are what are given to items. Think about that for a second. Labels are given to items, not natural people. Challenge anybody on the internet on this. If you say, for instance, you help your mom cook in the kitchen. This is just a particular analogy. She says, hand me the salt. You know exactly what salt is. Salt was actually a title attributed to what? There was a time when salt was money in history. Proven fact. But we're going to use it as a seasoning, but you know exactly what to reach for. Now, we're going to take it to an extreme. You fit the description of a suspect. What color was it? He was a black man. They know exactly what to go grab. That means any individual within the particular vicinity of whatever took place, even if it did take place, we don't know, can be grabbed. Think about that for a second. It's a proven fact. I don't attribute myself as being black. First off, caramel. I'm not black. And secondly, when it comes down to living underneath the system of natural law, I would never call myself black or African American. Not at all. My people reign from the land of Abyssinia, to be exact. And there was a time when the entire continent of what we call presently Africa was called Ethiopia. So natively, my title is Ethiopian. From the actual emperor at the time named Ethiopia. Period. We can't minimize it until one little corner of what we call presently Africa to say that this is what our descent came from. That's a lie. But we can relegate one people who actually came from an existence, what we call them Caucasian. We can relegate you to a certain part of the land where you didn't even see the sun. But that's not being racist, that's being real. Let's go further. The United American Free Society. Here with absolute right, we pronounce the United American Free Society having full right of claim to all the benefits afforded to the highest societies of good standing within present societies. And two, we recognize the first immutable and undeniable fact that we, the United American Free Society, are equals as a legitimate and complete model of fair society, capable in every way of being used to its superior enlightened purposes for many millions of members. And three, in no way shall this pronouncement nor anything it contains be construed as a demand or challenge to another society, or in any way be implied as an act of war, sedition, or disrespect of due process and the natural law. To the contrary, we pronounce the full respect of the living law, our natural rights, and the right by all societies to make fair laws and support the interests of their members according to their bylaws. And as demonstrated proof of authority, we present all original law, all articles of charter, all bylaws, and the natural laws of the unique collective awareness. And in this pursuit, we declare as self-evident that men and women were given their office by our Creator to care for, to tend for, and to share equally the earth and its resources. For it is our reason that the land as sea as a whole, its wealth belongs equally to all the peoples of the earth and our own lands, and must be held in common by the people as a sign of natural law, of equality, and peace is honored. And Upon this pronouncement, we recognize the immutable fact that our sovereign right is derived from the demonstrated proof of our divine creator and unique collective awareness. That we are both and unique, whilst being part of many, the collective awareness, and being so, we have the full right to claim, demonstrate, and execute authority powers bestowed to us by our divine creator. Upon this pronouncement, we recognize a further immutable fact that if any sovereign man or woman, living or deceased, is not free, then we cannot rightfully proclaim our own freedom. And lastly, therefore, upon this pronouncement, warranted by our sovereign right, upon necessity, we invoke both our freedom and these rights for ourselves and for and behalf of all men and women, living and deceased. We consider it judgment for all sovereign men and women, living and deceased, in the gracious favor of our common divine creator. So, agents, take that up your tailpipe. Is what it is. Final version. You won't find this online nowhere. Straight. But guess what? Is it important about the documentation, or is it important about the facts that's actually in it? Think about that for a second. The facts that are actually placed in the documentation may be placed before every public official to understand their position that they wish to actually place you under their jurisdiction. Juris, legal, diction, words, verbiage. Little do people know when they go to court, there's over 27 defined by United States Supreme Court doctrine. There's over 27 kinds of jurisdiction. Now, will the average American that resides on this continent be actually informed about that? No. You won't. And they know this. They know this. So just by showing up, that's one form. You got 26 more. It's proven fact. But with this, you extinguish all forms of jurisdiction, because what do? You basically explain an incompetent legal standing the particular notion in which you wish to assert it. They know exactly what it is. They're not dumb. When you go to court, you're in court with Britain and Rome at the same time. The judge works for Rome. The lawyer, attorney, the so-called prosecution works for Great Britain, period. And you wish to assert constitutional rights, which is, according to their doctrine, America. But how in the world could you particularly have a validated oath of office if you sit here and say that you are sworn to Rome and this individual is sworn to Great Britain because you're accredited by Great Britain? How the fuck is this going to work out for me? Think about that for a second before you get dicked around while these attorneys are sitting here extracting your wealth and they work for fucking Britain. Y'all people paying these people thousands of dollars to take your cases, and you're going to fucking lose. Majority of judges who took the bench literally have taken the bench under the auspices of actually making it seem like they're taking a valid public oath, but they work for Britain. Most of them were prosecutors before they even got there anyway. So you know how many bodies they had to sell to the fucking underworld Monday system before they actually made it to where they made it to? People need to wake the fuck up. Serious. And you really need to get your fucking head on straight. Because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to like what happens to you in the fucking future. Straight. Political assertiveness doesn't come down to the narrow fact that you have to sit here and wait for somebody to save you. Save your goddamn self. And stop, I hate to be blunt, but I got to, stop being fucking stupid. You know? So I sit here on these channels and I know that people, I sit here and watch content. I don't judge nobody because I don't want to be judged my motherfucking self. But I'll tell you what. Straight. I'll tell you what. A lot of y'all have no fucking clue. None. And I'm grown. I can curse. And it's part of my language if you're watching this around kids. But real talk, I don't have a fucking clue. None. And they never wanted you to have one. They never wanted you to have one. They never wanted to really give you access to real knowledge. They only told you what they wanted them to. They wanted themselves to tell you is a part of your existence. But I tell you what, boy, this next generation that's coming behind us is in fucking trouble. Straight in trouble. That's just a primary fact. But what I will say is this. There's hope for a few. You know? My next video I plan on doing sometime later on today will be proofs of claim. We'll go over default, letters of default. We'll go over all that. You know? We'll go over all that. Go ahead, get y'all straight. Because I know ain't nobody doing this shit on no other channel. And for you other motherfuckers, the ones in the back seat, don't worry about what the fuck I do on my channel. If I want to smoke me some motherfucking weed and do me an upload, so the fuck be it. My mama passed away in 2007. I ain't had another one since. So don't worry about what the fuck I do on my channel. Don't listen to the motherfucking messenger. Listen to the message, dummy. Sometimes, most of you motherfuckers, shit, half you motherfuckers probably ODing off heroin motherfucker anyway. Don't worry about what the next man doing. Who gives a fuck? So what? As long as I kick the truth, kick the ballistic, and keep the statistics coming, that's all you need to worry about. Don't worry about what the fuck I do on my motherfucking live feed. Don't worry about what I do on my channel. If you don't like what the fuck I'm doing on my channel, get the fuck off. Period. Unsubscribe. Don't need you. 7.9 billion people on the face of this earth. I don't need you. Straight. But for the ones that keep the truth, let me tell you something. Let me be real. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be. I don't want to be. That's too much expectation they place on you. Straight. All I'm doing is here to kick the message to y'all and let y'all know what's going on. Heads up, because guess what? Ain't shit derailed my life since I came to the truth. And even when I did go into my problems, I still handled them. Straight. Got a whole history full of it. Got a whole history. Can't tell me shit. Because there's certain things, like I said, I know that even your own local government doesn't know. Proven fact. Now, am I bragging or boasting? No. Sometimes you got to be a humble winner. That's all I am. If this is your first time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. Share the videos. It is what it is. People want to contact me via email. Other than that, you just learned a very significant truth in less than 30 minutes. Agents, don't contact me. It is what it is. I do not consent. I do not oblige. Period. Don't contact me. You already know what it is. I know who you are. And you know I know who you are. But other than that, I stand rested. Y'all be safe. Peace, light, love to those who are about the truth. Other than that, if you ain't for the truth, I'm going to be real. Man, fuck you. Straight. Fuck you. If you ain't about the truth, fuck you. Period. There's nothing else I can emphasize that. Because you're going to be the same energy that gets taken down with the rest of this fuck ass shit. In this near future. Because it's coming soon. And they know that time is short. You know? And don't believe because Trump's leaving so-called quote-unquote the White House, things are going to get gradually better. Remember, the economy was shit when Biden was in office. With your president, Barack Obama. So y'all just better get prepared. Learn how to become competent. And get ready to step your game up. Because guess what? You better get ready to get hit high, but stay low. Peace, light, love y'all. And agents, fuck y'all. Straight. Take care.